I dyed my hair pink.
That's cool.
It's pink now. Do you
What do
want to talk
you
about it?
what do you feel you sound like you feel some sort of way about it.
I don't know. Because honestly, it was kind of a little bit of a mishap. I had a hair mishap.
Uh you were walking past the pink hair dye in a grocery store when
Because that's where you buy hair dye, is at the
cuz you
grocery
wouldn't just
store.
cuz if you just fell if the pink hair dye just fell on top of you, that wouldn't be enough cuz you would have to so
Gotta
it would have to
saturate
be
the
like
hair. Yeah.
you tripped
Hmm.
and fell, and then the hair dye fell on top of you, and then somebody dropped a gallon of water, and that came and rinsed over you, and then while trying to get you out of it, they accidentally combed your hair on some of the other shit that fell over. Like,
And
"Oh
then
no, her
I
hair's
stood up.
caught."
I stood up and there was like a giant fan and it dried my hair for me.
Yeah, yeah, it's just like, "Oh no, I accidentally went through the long and difficult process of dyeing my hair pink."
This all happened. It took like 4 hours. No, like typically I've been doing bleach blonde for a while with kind of a dark root, very rock and roll, very, very Debbie Harry blondie.
Mm,
And I wanted to change it up a little bit. I wanted to go strawberry blonde.
okay.
And it just so I don't know. The bleach, we kind of missed a couple spots with the bleach, so it was looking like a little patchy.
Okay.
And I decided to keep some of my bangs blonde, and that also didn't look good. So my hair was all over the place, and then it started like washing out in one wash. My hair
Okay.
didn't want to hold on to the orange pigment that we put in. So I went back in and I'm like, I don't know, put pink over it. And we did, and now it looks pretty good. You've seen probably a photo of it. It does look pretty good. But also I
So
kind of miss the blonde.
So was your thought kind of just like, "Oh, the pink will fill in some pieces," and instead it overtook the hair?
No, I knew it would overtake it.
Okay,
I
okay.
knew that. Yeah, I was
You
too I
just
didn't
you just thought, "Okay, since this isn't working, I'll go for pink." And then you got
yes.
the pink and you were like, "You know what? Maybe it was working."
It definitely wasn't working, but I as the pink kind of gets lighter, I do like it.
It was like a difficult relationship. You were like, "You know what? If we'd only just tried harder, me and the blonde,
Me and the strawberry
we
blonde,
could have
yeah.
made it work, and now I'm with pink, and pink just isn't as satisfying
It's
to
treating
be
me
with
really
as
well
blonde
though.
was."
It's treating me well. Like it's a really good
You're tr
color.
y yeah, and you're Pink, you're treating me well. I know, you're a great partner, but there was just something so much more exciting about being with Blonde, and I just need to see if me and Blonde had really tried,
Yeah.
maybe gone to hair counseling together,
Are you trying to get me to break up with my hair?
if we could have made it work. If maybe me and Blonde really did have something special.
You know what kind of conversation this is?
Huh.
Harrowing. It's harrowing. It's harrowing.
Roses, is this just
Harrowing.
how we're gonna end
Harrowing.
every cold open from now on?
Yes,
Is
here
just
we
one of
go.
us looks for a pun? Hey everybody, welcome to Save Your Game. I am one of your two hosts, and my name is Matt. And with me is our other host, and her hair pink.
Her hair pink.
It pushing up roses. Hey roses.
Hi, I broke up with my hair. During the intro, I put another layer of bleach on it. Um,
Okay.
and now it's orange.
Now
No,
it's just
no, I did
bright
not do that.
orange.
Yeah.
You
Looks
just
like a
look like a.
carrot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That is. Okay, you know, like people sometimes use their hair as like an art piece, right?
Yeah.
Like hair
Yeah.
doesn't always have to just be something that complements your looks. It can be its own expression, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's got to be somebody somewhere who dyed their hair orange, spiked it straight up, and then dyed the tip green, and was like, "I'm Carrot Head."
Yeah.
Like,
Uh,
like, if you go to, like, a, Oingo Boingo concert or something, and
yeah.
there's gonna be a if you follow Oingo Boingo on tour for a whole year,
Yeah.
you're gonna see one person who's like, "Look, I'm a carrot head."
I'm a carrot yeah, it was probably me when I had my orange orange hair a few years back. I've had all kinds of hair. I'm okay, I think we should post this to Instagram. I'm gonna
This
send you
podcast?
No.
We're an Instagram only podcast
God
now.
damn it.
Oh, oh,
We
we're
do
about
need
to
to go
run
to
out of time.
podcast. We need to go to podcast therapy. It's like couples counseling, but, like, for
Mhm.
podcast co-hosts that just can't see eye to eye. No,
Yeah,
I'm gonna send you a picture of me at my desk recording the podcast right now with my pink hair, and I'm gonna get
okay.
your in real time reaction to right now. We can also post this on the IG for those who want to
Mhm.
see my new pink hair. Okay, and sent.
Alright, let me take out
Pink
my
hair,
key,
pink
open up my phone box,
phone box.
lift the lid. Okay, I gotta pull the
What?
chains off. Now I gotta reach in my phone sack, uh,
Our lives are adventure
pull the
games.
phone out of the phone sack. Now I gotta pull the phone protector off. I do a lot to keep myself from my phone while we're recording.
Wow, that's
Um,
I'm your dedication
and
is admirable.
uh, that's very pink.
It's very yes, it is. It's very
Also,
pink.
that's a cozy sweatshirt you got on.
Thank you. I don't normally I don't normally show people like in my I'm not gassed out right now at all. We can still post it on
Yeah,
Instagram.
yeah,
This is
yeah,
the
yeah.
more casual, cozy roses. But like, see, the more I look at the pink
Mhm.
hair, the more I do like it. Like it goes with my skin tone. I have green eyes, goes with my green eyes. Doesn't really go with that sweat. It's cold in here, okay? I can't look like a goth
Look,
queen all the
what?
time.
Do you really think I'm? I complimented you, and you're like, "Look, let me
Look,
explain.
let me
Let
explain
me
this.
explain why my hoodie is cozy." But yeah, it's like a bright kind of cotton candy-ish hair.
Yes.
It's very cool.
Yes. That's what I wanted. Like
Mhm,
I'm trying to fade it into like a bubblegum pink. And then once I get kind of a bubblegum pink, I can have my dark root come in again.
mhm.
It's gonna look so cute. But right now
Okay,
it's like very pink.
yeah, I think it's cool.
Thank you.
I enjoy a
Pink hair.
I enjoy striking hair. Like I enjoy a hair that is like attention catching. But that's just my punk rock.
So
That's
what
just
you're
my punk
saying
rock background.
is
Yeah.
you want me to dye your hair. Of course I will, Matt. You know, it just so happens that you're going to be here for my birthday in a couple days, and there's a beauty store like 2 minutes
Mm,
from me.
mm.
We can do it.
I did blue during COVID.
Oh, did you like it?
Uh, you know, no, it just didn't. No,
That's a no.
it didn't give me the emotional sort of hit that it gave me when I was a teen, right? Like
Yeah.
having blue or purple or what else did I do? Green hair as a
Green
teen
is great. I
uh
love a good green.
felt cool and I felt some sort of identification with it. And then I did it again and I was like, this is fine. I don't
Yeah,
hate it, but I don't feel identified with it. Maybe that's what you're going through. Maybe it's just
maybe.
your hair looks fine, but maybe you're just not feeling an identity with it.
Yeah, I mean like I definitely it looks very cool when I'm in my leather jacket and my
Mm,
like heart-shaped like sunglasses. I look like a badass.
yeah.
But like I don't look like that all the time. So sometimes I go into my bathroom like, "Oh."
Well,
It's weird.
I think pink works for that though, right?
Yeah,
Because pink works both cozy and tough, right?
true.
You
It's
can
like Kathy
be
Rain, right?
yeah, you can be goth and have pink hair and
Yeah.
it works. Or you can just be lounging around in sweatpants and a sweatshirt and
Yeah.
whatever and have
It
pink
still looks
hair.
pretty good. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for that. You can report you can report back on what pushing up roses is really like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When we hang out in person, we're playing Myst and I'm like
Absolute gremlin.
and then I looked over and she had fucking pink hair and I was like, God. I gotta get out of here. I'm like,
I
what?
can't even focus on Myst here. I can't even focus on these puzzles. Wait, okay.
I'm just so pissed at this hair.
I'm just so pissed off. That's not very punk of you, Matt. I would say that's not very.
um,
But
yeah.
I have a question, and it is about Myst, and I haven't played anything, but
Mhm.
I have been looking into Myst because Matt's gonna help me beat Myst, everybody. I'm gonna
Yeah.
beat it. For the first time ever, I'm gonna beat Myst and get off that damn first island. So I've been looking into it, and I feel like I don't know if it was you I had this discussion with, but is there a shorter way to beat this game? And I say beat, I don't say complete. Is there a short way involving levers to beat this game?
I have never heard of this.
Are you serious? No, that can't be right. Are you trolling?
No,
It's
I've
the lever
literally
ending.
never. The only time I've ever heard of this is when you vaguely referenced it one time, I think, in a phone call.
Okay, so
I
I looked it up and it's real, Matt. If you do the levers, you can beat the game. Not complete
okay.
it. And I'm going to show you this ending. I'm going to show you how I beat Myst. And you're going to be like, well, that was unfulfilling. You just pulled some levers.
Okay. How did you? What did you like? Is it a hack? Or is it like a secret cheat?
It's secret. I don't know if, like, you guys
So
tell us. Do you
it's
think
just
it's
going straight
cheating?
to the ending.
Yes.
That
So you
is
know all those lever boxes
yeah.
that are around the island? You have to pull all of them, including the one that is the clock in the middle of the uh lake thing.
Yes.
Um
You have to do
so
that anyway.
yeah, you have to do that anyway, but you pull all levers. I don't remember how many levers there are, and you get into this like secret like area where there's some guy. There's like some dude. He's like, "Oh, you did it." I'm not this sounds like I'm making it up,
No,
but I'm not.
that is how the hmm, I guess I should just say it. That is how the game ends. You get
Yeah,
into
so
a
you
secret
can
room and a guy's like, "You made it."
yeah,
Like that. So you're telling me that you can
yeah.
skip the entire game by just doing, but it can't just be pulling all the levers because I think you have to do that anyway.
There's like
So
a
it has to
couple
be
things you
something.
have to do.
It's like, oh, pull the levers and then push this one up and push that one down, and then it opens the secret door. Like it's got to be. It has to be something that the designers put in there to like test the ending. Like like when there's a secret debug mode in a game. It's
Yeah.
like, look, we're having problems getting this ending to trigger, so let's just put in some like secret thing no one's ever going to discover, so we can just
Mhm.
cut right to the end from the beginning.
Yeah, it absolutely has to do with the levers.
Hmm.
And then I think there's a couple other things, but it is like canon now. Like it's in all the, updated versions of
Yeah,
Myst. So it's not an
right, because
accident.
it's like an Easter egg, and now they're like,
Yeah.
well, for the people that know it, wink, wink, we're gonna put it in every version, wink, wink. Here's this
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Um, this thing that I'm thinking about a lot right now, and trust me, I don't care about this, but it is making me think of it. We got a YouTube comment very recently where
Okay.
some some dipshit was like,
Oh God.
your this video said it was about Laura Bow
Uh-huh.
and the dagger of Amon Ra, but I've been listening for 15 minutes now, and they're just talking about other things. I need and laughing, and it said something
Oh my
like,
God. Oh my God. We're
"I
having
guess this is
fun.
just proof I need to stay away from introverts." Like you've never listened to a podcast before? What are you talking about? But anyway, I'm imagining that person listening to this and whatever this episode is titled, they're like, they're only talking about hair. They're talking about hair, and now they're talking about Myst.
But we say exactly what we talk about in
I
every
know
episode.
in the description, yeah, it's in the description, and
Guys,
it's a fucking
Matt works so hard at the descriptions. Please read them.
it's a fucking it's more of a comedy podcast. Like it's like half of our podcast is just us bullshitting. So if
Yeah.
somebody does, so like good on that guy for recognizing that this isn't the podcast for him. But the fact that he took the time to sit there and write like, I listened for 15 whole minutes and they haven't even mentioned Laura Bow yet. It's like, what? if this
Oh
is
my
being the
gosh.
opposite of an extrovert or whatever he's saying, then like is sitting inside and complaining about not hearing the right thing quick enough.
That is too funny. But we also I just want to say we also take accountability for how long our cold opens used to be. That's on us. We just like to fucking talk. It's not, you know, I think most people like that. I don't understand the introvert quip. What's
Oh,
that
did
all
I
about?
did I not finish? Maybe I didn't finish saying the thing about his comment. The last sentence was, "This is why I should stay away from extroverts." Did I not say that out loud?
You said
Or did
introvert.
I? Uh, I was saying if that's the opposite. I don't know. I'd have to listen back. Probably I misspoke one thing. But I was
I get
saying.
it.
Okay, here's the two things I was saying. He
Uh-huh.
said, God, this is great entertainment. He said, we might need to cut this part out.
I'm
He
not cutting it.
he said, this is why I need to stay away from extroverts. Uh, and then
Okay.
I said, if this is what being the opposite of an extrovert is,
Then
then
you need to stay away from introverts because it's
that yeah,
boring.
that yeah, I guess that I
Yeah.
need to stay away from introverts because being the opposite of an extrovert is complaining that is complaining to a podcast that they're enjoying themselves. It's like, okay,
Oh, no.
that if that is what you want your life to be about, sir, then like good on you, man. But you writing that comment isn't going to make us in the past have talked about Laura Bow any quicker.
That's true, and it's not even gonna stop us from talking, to be honest with you.
No.
It might cause me to rebel and just talk about nothing for
Well, yeah.
it's like
I
my
wonder
superpower.
I wonder that, right? That, by the way,
Mhm.
there's certainly going to be an episode one day where we just never get around to talking about video games, right? Like it's just like
I hope
an
so.
inevitability that at least one episode in the next say 100 episodes we're going to be like, "Oh fuck, we ran out of time to talk about games." but
Sounds fun.
but yeah, it's not like he's like, "Oh, if I leave this comment, maybe I'll check back in and listen to the next episode and see if they've taken my feedback to heart and to only talk about the game from the very beginning."
Oh, I don't take any feedback.
Well, yeah,
Ever.
but you see, I don't even think this person intends it to be feedback.
No, I know.
I think he intended for us to read that and be like, "Oh, we failed at our jobs."
Oh,
Like
no. I was a
it's
bad
like,
podcaster.
yeah, yeah. But anyway,
I'm
I
sorry you don't
guess
like fun,
on
sir.
some level, this man got into my head because as we were talking about hair for the
Mhm.
14th minute, I was like, I was thinking to myself, I wonder what this podcast is titled. I wonder what this episode is. Is it titled Wanderstop? And is and how would that man have reacted to it?
Sir, we encourage you to have more fun in your
Mhm,
life. I'm
mhm.
sorry that you're angry at our rambling, but just know that we love what we do.
This is the thing.
It's gonna be okay.
If any art, right, doesn't lead you to more interesting conversations than just the art, that's probably not helpful. It's
Yeah.
probably not something that's doing you good in your life, right? Like art is meant to open up doorways in your brain so that you can uh think new thoughts, connect better with people,
Yeah.
reach uh levels of understanding about something that you haven't before. So any conversation about art should necessarily include the people talking about it getting along, connecting
Yeah.
with each other,
We get along.
and and you know, um, broaching deeper subjects than just the game. So if
I
you're
agree.
all you want to listen to is somebody say, and then I went into the basement room, and then I found the sponge, and then I took the sponge up to the chemicals, and I soaked the chemicals in the sponge, and then I put the sponge on the photo, and then the photo developed, and then I took the photo and I put it in the mailbox, and then
It's a
like
very objective way of talking.
if that's all you want,
Yeah.
then like just play the game again, I guess.
Yeah. I have a few videos on Laura Bow. That might scratch your itch if you really want to listen to me talk about Laura Bow for too long of a time.
That said, though, one of my favorite adventure game podcasts of all time. It doesn't. The guy doesn't make new episodes anymore, but it was called the. I think it was called the Point and Click podcast.
Okay.
Let me look it up to make sure. Yeah, it was called Point and Click, an adventure game podcast, and he would spend the first half of every episode going really deep into like the history of shit, and he was really
Mm.
knowledgeable. He would go even down into like the hardware that was developed that made it possible to make these sounds or
Oh,
whatever.
cool.
Really smart dude. And then the second half of every episode is what he called a talk through,
Mm-hmm.
and he would literally just talk. He would just like do an audio walkthrough of the game.
Oh, fun.
And like I get to 99.9% of people on earth that sounds like torture, but to me it was heaven, right? I was like,
Aw.
I love it because it was just like you'd be able to sit at work doing whatever boring thing you're doing on a long drive or whatever,
Yeah.
and it's just like, oh, it's kind of like I'm playing, what's an episode he did, it's kind of like I'm playing Day of the Tentacle in my brain.
Aw. No, I like that too, and I like being told a story
Mm-hmm.
and all that stuff. That's cool. It's
But
too
if that
bad he
was,
doesn't do it anymore.
I agree. But if that was your only entertainment, you either played Day of the Tentacle or listened to somebody describe Day of the Tentacle. Then you really need to expand your horizons. Maybe listen to somebody joke about hair for 15 minutes.
It's important to me. Anyway,
Uh,
so I talked about hair, I talked about the Myst weird thing that I am going to show you, and you're going to be like, what's the point of that?
mhm.
What have you been playing?
Ooh, boy.
Oh my god. Matt, please.
I've been playing that question, much like this game, is like a real Pandora's box for me. Because I think we're clear to talk about it now. I've been playing Blueprints. And holy shit, does this game go fucking deep, dude.
It's interesting because it doesn't. I wasn't quite getting that from the demo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what we got from the demo was this game is really complex. This game's going to have a lot to it, and it's going to be really fun.
Yeah.
So you play about, your first 10 hours, and you're doing basically what you're doing in the demo, right? You are laying down rooms one after the other on a blueprint every time you go through a door. Some rooms cost gems. Some doors are locked and need keys.
Mm-hmm.
You have a certain amount of steps per day. And some of the rooms have items that help you solve puzzles in other rooms and whatever. It's sort of like an adventure game. It's sort of like a roguelike. It's sort of like a board game. It's sort of like a strategy game. It's got all these elements to it.
Yeah.
So you're working really hard to get to the fabled room 46. And again, about 10 hours in, maybe shorter if you're a lot smarter than me.
Impossible. That is the smartest boy in the world.
you you get to room 46. And then you look at your notebook, or you go over in your brain, or you look at your screenshots, or you go over in your brain all the goals you had, and you're like, there's a lot of dead ends still. There's a lot of puzzles I haven't solved. And you had this instinct right away, which is to leave the mansion and walk the grounds and say, what exists outside of the bounds of what this game is telling me, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was your first instinct. and that's how you found the spooky little hallway and stuff, right? Remember that?
The garage?
The garage, yeah.
Yeah, the place where I'm like, "No, that's okay."
um, but then, first of all, ending made me tear up, and then,
Oh,
uh,
Matt.
and then you go back into the game, and you've only just scratched the surface. I am 20 hours past the credits now,
Wow.
and I still have a list as long as my hand of mysteries I'm trying to solve.
It's like almost like sandboxy then. It kinda like, it gives you an ending, but you can play way beyond that if you wanted to.
I have a feeling I think I compared it on a previous episode to Animal Well. And I
Yeah,
think
you did.
it's similar to that. Like I have a feeling there's more endings beyond the ending.
Yeah.
Um there's this game just goes so deep. And then you could stop there. You could get to room 46 and been like just think like that was fun. I solved some
Yeah.
really tough puzzles. I solved some really fun puzzles and I saw the ending.
Yeah.
But I think getting to the end is only, you know, you're only beating I want to say maybe 10% of the game. Like it's so there's so much more.
That's wild. How is that even possible?
I know. I have all these rooms that are now outside of the mansion and are permanent. I have uh I've discovered these like ancient catacomb I don't want to get too into it, but
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
cuz I don't want to spoil things, but it's this thing where everything you see in the game has a significance. Um and you'll be in some room and you'll look at a note and there'll be some like oblique reference to something you've been looking at the entire game. Like not this because I don't want to spoil anything, but say that there's a I don't know, say there's a pen sitting on the first table when you walk in, and
Mhm.
every time you come in, you look at that pen and you don't even think about it. And then there's some note that's like, oh, on the underside of the pen, because of what you did, what you hid on the underside of the pen. And then you go, when you start the next day, you go look at the pen and you look at the underside, and it tells you some way to open up a secret catacomb in the first room. Like
Oh,
things on that level of
yeah.
secrecy. Um, I- it's a game where you have to have patience with puzzles too, right? You have to run
Yeah.
into something and be like, this what this is telling me is so foreign at this moment. I just
Yeah.
have to write it down and trust that eventually whatever it's saying is going to make sense.
Yeah.
Like
That
some point
might
I
piss
came
me off.
at some
I
point I
would be
came
like,
across
"No."
at some point I came across a map and it had these symbols pointing to each thing on the map. And
Yeah.
there was at that point I don't even think I knew that the game had to do with the global politics of the world of blueprints. And so it's like, okay, I'm just going to take a screenshot of this and come back to it. And now I've spent so much time staring at this map and trying to connect it to certain other things that I know about. Like, yeah, it's wild. You uncover like the family history of the people who owned this mansion, and it involves their the both good and bad political motivations that they've had throughout the course of history, and how the things they've done tie into the history of this world and the politics of this world, good and bad, and the consequences that they had for following their own politics,
Mhm.
again both good and bad. And uh, it's just never ending. There's a point where you come across a bedroom with bunk beds. That's one of the rooms that you can generate.
Yeah.
And there's a notebook in it that was clearly the diary of, I think, your character. I might be remembering this wrong. One is your character and one is who's like your brother.
Mhm.
Um and it was like, this is your diary. Like it'll be in one handwriting, like Today at kindergarten, I did this. And the next one is like a completely different handwriting. And it's somebody mocking the other kid. Like, today I was a big stupid head. And then the next diary entry is like, so and so stole my diary and I hate him for it. And the next one's mocking the kid for doing that. And
It's
at
funny.
the end, I'm gonna spoil it. There's this one tiny thing because I think it gives you a hint of the humanity in this game if it's starting
Mhm.
to feel kind of um, antiseptic.
Yeah.
Uh, the last page is a note from you as an adult, and it's like today is a good day because like mimicking the format of all the previous pages, and it's
Mhm.
like because I get to see my brother, like my brother returns from college, and I finally get to see him again, and as how I hope, and because of that, I can finally return the diary I stole from him long ago when we were kids. I hope you find this as hilarious and silly as I do. Congrats on your diploma. And
Aw.
it gives you goosebumps. It's like
Yeah.
the sweetest little thing locked in this game of um, just endless complexity.
Yeah.
So it's sweet and it's personal and it's political and it's full of secrets and it involves a lot of thought, but it's also a lot of fun. Um, I know I've been ranting for a while. I apologize.
You've been raving. I mean, you've been raving.
Yeah. I'm also I reached out to I'm writing a review for this for Adventure Game Hotspot. I was just like, "Hey, is anyone covering this?" Because like the moment I rolled credits, I was like, "I need to write a review about this thing."
Oh, yeah.
um so hopefully that'll be out by the time this episode goes up so people can read my more in-depth thoughts.
Nice.
Uh
It sounds like we might have to do a pod on it too
yeah,
to see if I have like the same experience as you.
I wonder because I think a lot of these types of puzzles, it's kind of like Lorelei and the Laser Eyes or like Myst, right? A lot
Yeah.
of these puzzles might not be the ones you love,
Yeah.
but I do think you will enjoy the basic loop of the game, like from the demo, like
Yeah.
building the rooms and trying to plan your way to the end.
Yeah. No, I do like the
hmm
mechanic. It's really interesting.
And I think what the pieces of story that you uncover, you will find interesting and charming.
Yeah.
Um, but I do really wonder if if this is the type of puzzle that'll keep your interest
Right.
to like I don't know, however deep the ending is. I think I can say this. I'm in like a secret Discord for press for this game. When you beat this game, when you roll credits, you can join like the press Discord because it's obviously I'm playing an advanced copy.
Yeah.
And there are people in this Discord who are like, I've put 106 hours into this game over the past 3 weeks.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I bet. I
And the
saw
person I'm
you on
quoting,
Steam that you put like over 30 hours into it already.
yeah, the person I'm quoting that spent over 100 hours is like I won't blow up their spot, but they're one of the biggest video games journalists on
Oh,
earth. So
wow.
it's not like they don't have other shit to do. Yeah, I think this is so. And you know the fucking thing about this, Roses?
What?
It's this guy's first game.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Of course they're the most talented
Yeah,
person on the planet that I'm definitely not jealous of. Just because I'm sitting here making wonky pots doesn't mean I'm jealous.
um. All right, I gotta stop talking about blueprints because the listeners are going to hear more about this game in the next month, I'm sure,
Yeah.
from me and everywhere
From
else.
you. No, only from you.
So I'll shut the fuck up about it. But my
Okay.
God, this game is a absolute triumph.
That's
Hey,
amazing.
spoiler alert. I'm giving it 100. I'm giving it a 100 on my review.
Wow,
First
you
sprint
heard it
100 I've
here,
ever given it.
folks. Aren't you lucky?
Jack's gonna listen to that, and it's like he's gonna plan for the thing to go up tomorrow, and he's gonna be like, "You son of a bitch!"
No, that's great. I'm really curious about it now. So uh I did install it, so I will be giving it a shot.
Yeah, yeah. I can't wait to see what your experience is with it, and
Yeah.
I can't wait for the general public to get this game because I just wanna. I just wanna talk about I just wanna talk about it. Like, that's all I wanna do is, like, every day I'm just spending the day thinking about this game.
Oh my. Yeah, I mean, you can
It's
talk about it at my birthday party if you want. I don't know if anybody will know what the
no
fuck you're talking about,
nobody
but
will have played it because it's
yeah,
not out
'cause
yet.
it's not even out. Disaster.
Um,
And then later I'll have to be like, "Matt, what did you do to my friends? Why are they all why
why
are
are
they
they
all
in
weirded
love with
out?"
you?
Yeah,
Why are they all deeply in love with you? Why are all my friends fighting to see who gets to marry
fighting
you?
for you. Yeah, it's wild.
Well, thank you for indulging me and listening. I know the only I do feel a little bit better knowing that you're going to have a billion things to say about the game we're talking about today.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I get very we're going to be talking about Wanderstop today, folks. And if there's one thing I'm good at, it's about introspection and just analyzing mental health and games and what it's trying to say. And uh I'm excited for this. I you were the one who brought this game to my attention. So I'm like, okay, I'll play it. And just luckily I played the demo and it came out very quickly after
Yeah.
that because man, the game knew what it was doing. It's like, yeah, we'll grab you a little bit and then we'll cut you off. And I'm like, oh, thank God that I played this really close to the
I've
release date.
I've never played a demo that ends at a more infuriating moment
No,
than
I
the
know.
Wanderstop demo.
Yeah, I know. I think I had mentioned it in one of the things where it actually, like, cuts off, or I don't know if I said where, if I didn't, we'll say it here, but yeah, infuriating. I could
Mhm.
not believe that. Smart though, because I went back and I got the game and played it.
Yeah, yeah. I played it a lot slower than you for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something we can dissect, but I don't know if we'll get to the bottom of it because I liked it the whole way through. But anyway, um, but I just finished it actually today. So
Oh, great, great. Yay.
shit, I just realized you're waiting for me to do a Blanky Cancarino,
Yeah, I am waiting.
and I didn't even have it up. Maybe that's where I'll keep it today. Blanky Cancarino.
Blanky Kinkery out here incoming. Hey everyone, welcome back to Save Your Game. I am your host, Pushing Up Roses, and with me, as always, the very strong, the very X-Men knowledgeable,
Hmm.
uh plug, go listen to his podcast, Mutant Menace, Matt Ocamp. Hi Matt.
I forgot to plug that last episode.
No, you did.
Oh, okay. Oh, was it 2 episodes ago? I forgot. 1 episode I forgot about. It doesn't matter.
I
We're
plugged it
not
for you.
here to talk about X-Men. Even though, yes, I'm very strong. I'm so strong I can lift up every X-Men comic ever made at once.
How many is that, Matt?
I don't know.
What? You're
That would be
Matt.
impossible. That would be impossible to I I'm sure there is an answer, but it would be so complicated. Like, what
Why?
qualifies as an X-Men comic? What qualifies as a comic just with an X-Man in it? What qualifies
Oh,
as, what is if you're asking how many issues of
that's what I'm asking.
X-Men
Yes, that's what
of
I'm
the
asking.
comic called X-Men, then even then you're getting into complications because Uncanny X-Men
I don't
or X-Men.
I've
Because
opened the
X-Men
floodgates.
turned into Uncanny X-Men, but then in the
Uh-huh.
'90s, another comic book came out that ran alongside it that was just called X-Men again. So what do you talk in
I
that
don't know.
sense,
I don't know what I'm talking about here.
if we're talking about the combination of Uncanny X-Men and Adjectiveless X-Men,
Yeah, yeah, put them together.
you're looking at around 1,000
So
books.
you think that you can lift 1,000 comics?
What do you mean think? I'm doing it right now.
You're doing it. Wow, you're not even like panting. That's amazing. Matt Alcamp, everyone. He can lift some comics.
It's just I'm a very strong and special boy. Hey,
It's true.
what are we talking about today?
Well, you're gonna need your mental strength for this one because we're talking about Wanderstop. And
Yeah.
if you guys listen to definitely the last episode, or maybe the one before that, I think might have been the one before that. We do talk a little bit about the themes of Wanderstop, but
Yeah,
I think
it was the episode with Meredith. So, yeah, we talked,
okay,
so it's 2 ago, but we have talked about it a couple different times now.
yeah. And every time we talk about it, I feel like we have to stop ourselves a little short because, at some point we've, I don't want to give away everything. I wanted to dedicate more of an episode to this because I thought it was a
Mm,
really interesting themed game, and the kind of the points that this game was trying to make. So can I just give like a quick overview? Not an overview.
please.
I'm going to give my quick experience.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so we were looking at this is when we found this game when we were looking at demos. And I think like Next Fest was going on. And you were just throwing a lot of um uh things that I might be interested in. You said you might like Wanderstop. And I think
Mhm,
you hadn't like played a lot of it. You were just like, I think you might like this. I'm like, okay, I like the name of it. It's like
mhm,
very whimsical. So I play the demo, and I'm going to spoil it now. I'm going to spoil what the demo does.
mm.
So the demo ends right before you do any of what the game advertises that it does. So it says it's kind of like a tea management type of thing. Your character is working at a cafe, at a tea place. You don't get to do any of that in the demo. It stops. It gives you some story, it gives you some narrative. You talk to a couple characters even, but you don't. And there's also like a gardening aspect as well, because that's how you're going to make your tea. You're going to make it from hand. You're going to, grow different plants. You're going to get the leaves and put different, flavors in it or whatever. So there is a little bit of a gardening aspect to it, but you don't get to
Mhm.
do any of that shit in the demo. Luckily for me, I played this game pretty close to release date, so I was able to continue it. And I actually binged it. I know, Matt, you played it more in short bursts.
Yeah.
I played it basically as much as I could because I enjoyed it that much.
I enjoyed it. Like, I didn't not enjoy it, but I think I found it more beautiful
Yeah.
and, emotionally stimulating
Yeah.
than I found it fun. And actually,
Yeah.
as we'll get into, I think, later in this discussion, I think maybe, that maybe affects the point it's trying to make a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. It's it's a very interesting mechanic, and
Mm,
I know we've already talked about like kind of what it's about. I think I went into detail on that Meredith episode, but just a
mhm,
real quick recap. You're playing a character named Alta. You are a warrior, and it has been your life goal and your life's meaning to be the best fighter, to be the best warrior. Unfortunately, as you kind of go through this introduction, you realize that you are burnt out, you are tired, you can't even hold your sword anymore,
yeah.
and you don't quite understand why. Um, but eventually, you pass out in the forest. You're trying to run through the forest. You're trying to find this mentor who will help you to become, a better warrior, but you can't even make it there because you're that tired. So you are found by this sweet little man named Boro, and he brings you to a place called Wanderstop, which is not, it's not a town. It is simply the name of like the tea shop or like
Mhm,
the
mhm.
estate that you're on, is Wanderstop. So he's like, maybe you just need to, people come to Wanderstop when they need to rest a little bit. Maybe you can rest, and hey, you can help me run the tea shop if you want something to do. There's always people in need of stuff.
Yeah,
And I think your character kind of resists that at first because she doesn't want to be making tea.
right.
Because the whole premise of this game is that you are allowed to be productive doing maybe things that people don't think right away are productive. I think it really asks the question, like, well, what is productivity? What does being productive mean to people? Is
Huh.
it working your hardest and working your longest? Is that what being productive is? Or is being productive doing something a little more casual, like making a tea for somebody And why does society think that that's not also a way of being productive, you know? It definitely pushes the idea that in order to be productive and successful, you have to push yourself hard to the point of exhaustion. And the game is, I think the story is trying to challenge that. Well, like, well, what is productivity?
I even think this might be a difference of opinion me and you have.
Mhm.
I think that the game is trying to even say productivity shouldn't be the goal. Because
Right.
early on, he also tells you if you don't want to make tea, that's fine. And there aren't he basically tells you you don't need to do anything.
Hmm.
You won't get I don't think I don't know how this is communicated because he doesn't say it in these words, but basically you're not going to get rewarded
Right.
for doing anything.
Right.
You People don't expect anything from you. I'm not going to give you a list of tasks. I'm not going to tell you what you have to do. And if you don't give people the tea they're looking for, that's
Hmm.
okay. We don't charge people money. We don't like so on some level I think the game is also saying like, hey, sometimes you should do things just because you kind of enjoy doing them
Yeah.
and not for productivity's sake. You
And I
shouldn't
and I think
yeah.
that I do want to say I think that is being productive. I think resting is being productive. It's not what society, again, like you said, you're not exactly rewarded in a tangible way, but there is a reward. And I think Alta has to see that for herself. The reward of resting or pivoting from something that's no longer serving you, that's burning you out, that maybe that's not meant where your life is going to go. And so I think the reward, I think there's a lot of trickery in this game, right? I think it is advertised as a certain type of game and it tricks you and it's not. And I also think that Boro is tricking Alta into a different kind of pride. He's saying there's no reward, but I think there is one. It's just not something that Alta recognizes as a reward. The reward of feeling better, the reward of feeling confident in yourself and your choices.
So hmm, I think one thing that you would maybe have to to believe that this game is about to believe that this game is still about a sort of productivity is you would have to believe and maybe you do or maybe you just disagree with this
Mhm.
theory. You would have to believe that Alta wants to serve tea, right? You
Right.
would have to believe that she eventually she doesn't see it right away, but eventually finds that she wants like that's what she wants to pivot to. That is what she
Yeah.
like instead of being a warrior, she wants to be a tea server.
Yeah.
And I think she and my take on it is that she doesn't. She's never
Mhm.
this isn't about finding a new career for her. She doesn't want to
Right.
be a tea lady.
Right. Right.
Um and she's not resting and this is made very clear in the game. She's not resting so that she can get back to her life as a warrior.
Yeah.
I guess you can say
She thinks she is. She thinks that's what's gonna happen.
right, and the whole
Yeah.
game is about tearing down that assumption and
Yeah.
saying, "No, this is about resting for rest's sake, not for if you are doing this, if you are resting so that you can get back to adventuring." And this is what at any point in the game you can run back into the woods. You
Yeah.
can you can take back off. Um and she'll collapse again. And I think what that's trying to say is if you are doing this just to get back to where you were at,
Mhm.
just to get back to a place where you can be productive again, then you're not truly resting. You're not
Yeah.
truly living for yourself. You are still living for uh, what the game externalizes as this other person inside you, this other
Yeah.
person who um, demands perfection and demands productivity.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I want to say let's talk about, because we are kind of talking about um, pivots and kind of trickery. Not trickery, but I do think that the game can be misleading. I'm not saying it's false advertising in
Mhm,
any way. I'm saying that this looks like a cozy life management slash tea shop simulation game, like a
mhm.
management game. Like you are going to be serving people tea all the time. What is this a good equivalent to a management game?
I mean, I we
Like what's
over
a
reference
food
it.
management game?
Oh, okay.
Why are we why can't we think of anything? There's like so many, I think, right?
Yeah, there's a ton.
Like maybe that I mean there's that cat cafe game. I think you get little, I think you get little quests of like serving certain
I
people.
mean,
But
there's holy shit, what is going on with our brains?
well, what were you gonna say prior that you said we over reference it? What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say Stardew Valley,
Okay.
um, because I do think, like, that's not a food management sim, but
Right.
it's a type of, there a lot of these simulation games, they are about productivity,
Yes.
and
Yes.
about how can you be the most effective at your job?
Yeah.
How can you approach your job with so much dedication and intelligence that you
Yeah.
can do it as effectively, efficiently, as quickly and smartly and in as much of a quantity as possible.
Yeah.
And this game is rejecting that. It's like there you don't unlock something that heats the tea faster, right?
Right.
You don't unlock uh you don't unlock a special plant that uh makes all, plants 25% easier to grow, right? You don't unlock
Right.
a special watering can that holds twice as much water because the game is
You
trying
don't
to
try to have sex with every single character and then break their heart and then divorce them and then erase their memories.
I did, but I had a ROM hack.
Oh, okay.
I had a
I'm just
no,
cruel.
what was I a mod, I guess is the word I
Oh, a
was looking
mod,
for.
okay. That's
I had a
actually
mod.
a really good example because if you look up like Stardew Valley videos, like
Mhm,
guides, what are they? They're all about you didn't know about this tip. You didn't know about this hack that'll make it this much more productive and you're going to have so many crops and so many ways to do something. Whereas this game, even though I think there is a label for like life sim maybe on the Steam
mhm.
page, it kind of tricks you. It's really not about that. Um it's
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna say it is I think what's really interesting, and I've never really seen a game do this before, is there's not a lot of characters on screen at
Mhm.
one time. You are not this is what makes it really not a super duper management things. Like you do have quests and you can do them, and I did them because that's how I wanted to play the game. I wanted to get people the tea that they requested. I wanted to plant plants to make, ingredients and flavors. But I did notice that there's only a couple characters on screen that you can really help at a time. The game takes place, what I presume to be in a year because it seems to be segmented into seasons.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, so like per season, there's only maybe two or three other characters other than yourself and Boro, the shop owner. And at first, I was like, at first, I really didn't like it. I didn't realize that maybe this is something the devs did on purpose
Right.
because no, we're not going to make you be the most productive. We're going to give you a choice. You can rest, you can play this in a cozy way, you can get people tea. But even then, there's only two people that you can help on screen. And then when you're done with that season, those characters, you don't see them again.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad. Do you want to explain that mechanic a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, so there's characters wandering around that they want specific types of tea, right? Sometimes they don't. Sometimes you have to convince them to want
Yeah,
tea,
yeah,
which I think is part of the thing. Is like not this is something Boro tells you too. The first time somebody doesn't want tea, he's like, yeah, not everyone,
yeah.
not everyone wants something. Not
And she
everybody
gets
needs
upset,
something.
right? Because she's used to having this path where everything is just kind of working out for her. There's like a structure to it. And now there's
Mhm.
no structure. Now
Mm-mm.
she's got this weird job where somebody might not even want tea.
Right, and so, like, at first, she's just bullying people into wanting tea.
Yeah.
Um, but, so then what you'll have to do is you'll have to go grow certain plants, you'll have to harvest tea leaves, dry the tea leaves, grow certain plants by planting seeds in certain patterns and watering the seeds, and then, throwing those into the tea, heating the tea water, throwing those into the tea, pouring it out through a big, uh, complicated tube,
Yeah.
and then you bring them tea, and generally that progresses those people's stories. They
Right.
take the tea, they walk away, and then a little bit later they'll come back to you with some new beat on their story. Like, for example, somebody's got a it's this is this trickery you're talking about because
Yeah.
he's got a cursed leg,
Yeah.
um, but his
The knight,
story
right?
yes, but his story isn't about the cursed leg. Even though you can't seem to stop obsessing about the cursed leg every time you talk to him, the story's not about his cursed leg. The story is about how he keeps doing bigger. And this is another thing. All the stories subtly or not subtly tie into the theme.
Right.
Um, it's about him constantly trying bigger and bigger things to impress his son,
Yeah.
and his son perpetually being unimpressed because he just wants a dad.
Yeah. And he's like a teenager, kind of
Mhm.
that age where it's like
But yeah, so like he doesn't want his dad to go do impressive things and like
yeah.
uh be a super cool dude. He wants his dad to be a dad and just like chill. Um and after a while, oh, man, and this gets heartbreaking later on, but after a while, and you'll have like two customers roughly wandering around at a time. Um and after a while you'll go up to talk to them and you'll just get a series of dots,
Right.
and they won't have anything to say. And you go to borrow and you say, "Hey, something weird's happening. Nobody's talking to me. Everybody is silent." And he's like, "Oh, seems like it's time to move on then."
Yeah.
And this is often in the middle of people's stories, right?
Yeah.
You don't see how this plays out. You don't know what happens to the cursed leg. You don't know what happens with the sun. Um, at the same time, there's a demon hunter in a world where all demons have been extinguished. So
Yeah.
he's trying to figure out what his purpose is now. And
Yeah.
he's just doing his same demon expelling rituals, even though there's no demons around. Um, you don't see what happens to them. You
Right.
go, you sit at a shrine, you meditate, the entire clearing changes, and then some other people wander into the clearing and they have their own problems. And you
Yeah.
never see those characters again.
It's a little sad, but at the same time it's like, "Oh, that is life." It's
Mhm.
clearly trying to, say something poignant here about letting go and moving forward.
Yeah. I wanna I wanna talk about on that front, this seems as good a time as any to talk about the name of this game, which is Wanderstop,
Yeah.
um, which reminds me of the word sojourn, right?
Mhm.
Which is when you're in the middle of some sort of travel, in the middle of some sort of journey. A sojourn, people often misdefine this word, so that's why I'm
Yeah.
defining it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Um, a sojourn is when you stop at a place for a short amount of time
Yes.
before continuing to go on.
Yeah.
And that is what you're doing in this clearing at this tea shop, but that is also what you're doing in the stories, in the stories of these people's lives.
Mhm.
You are stopping, your journeys are colliding for a short amount of time,
Mhm.
and then they move on.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a bed and breakfast, right? Somebody's on a road trip across the country. They stop in, you get to know them, and then they continue on their journey, and you never find out where that journey goes.
Yeah. I have never played a game where it's doing something like that, where it's
Yeah.
not it's not being a Stardew Valley or a Sims type of a thing where the goals are ultimately very important and you have 1,000 ways to do something. I've never seen a game be like, no, you don't have to.
Yeah.
And it's really challenging, and I think that's why I wasn't into it at first, because I'm like, where are the people? I'm not
Yeah.
doing anything. This doesn't
Yeah.
feel right. But why doesn't it feel right? Why can't I just enjoy this story in this cozy game? It's kind of challenging in that way.
Mhm.
Or I guess I've also never played a game where, yeah, there's like no end to the character stories. Even in like simpler games
Yeah.
on narrative like Stardew, where relationships are only a part of that kind of game. Um, Even those characters have stories
Mhm.
that kind of have some conclusions. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, so like in this game, I've never played a game where I just don't the character doesn't really have a conclusion. That's
No.
just it.
No, yeah, they go off and they live their lives and you live yours and it's separated.
Yeah.
And that becomes more heartbreaking as it goes on because you now that you know this is happening, now you know that this is the loop of the game, you will meet characters and start to grow attached to them.
Yeah.
And I would say this is especially true of the final customer.
Yeah. It is, yeah.
I guess there's one customer after her, but she's like clearly the focus of the final chapter.
Right.
Um, where you know you're gonna have to say goodbye to everybody you meet.
Yeah.
Um, I remember. Okay, here's an interesting thing. I remember watching Battlestar Galactica with my son.
Mhm.
Um, uh, when he was a little younger. I don't know. Have you ever seen the what is it? Was it 2004 remake of Battlestar
A
Galactica?
little bit, but it's been so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so we watched it together. And he I remember getting towards the end. I remember watching it when I got towards the end. There's some characters who have abrupt and really disturbing endings to their
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah.
Um, and I remember thinking, okay, like having to talk myself through it, be like, it's the last season. You are gonna have to say goodbye to all these people anyway. So just okay, that's how her story ends. It's okay. It's okay, Matt. But I remember watching it with Toby then later, and he uh, got so upset when the story was
Oh.
over because he when the show was over because he was like, it feels like I just lost a bunch of friends. It feels like I'm
Oh.
saying goodbye to a bunch of friends. And at the end of Battlestar Galactica, they all go off in separate directions.
Yeah.
And he's like, and it feels like they all lost each other. And I just remember him being so heartbroken and like knowing watching that show and being like, there's some adult stuff in here. So we're gonna have to pause after every episode and talk about some of these
Yeah.
adult things. Cause he was, I don't know, whatever, 10 or 11 at the time.
Mhm.
Um, but the thing I did not foresee was that what would hurt him the most is getting attached to these characters and then having to
Oh.
leave them forever.
That is I can relate to that, honestly. I even felt that way a little bit about The Guild, which is Felicia Day's web series. It was like one of the first, I think, web series where they were like little sketches, on YouTube. And those characters really evolve over time. And in the end, people go their separate ways. And I'm not saying like in that show they went completely separate, but there was
Hmm.
like an ending to it. There was like a
Yeah.
finality to it
Yeah.
where they might not play World of Warcraft together anymore. They have grown and changed in
Yeah.
all these different ways, and that's ultimately a good thing. But
Yeah.
but yeah,
Well,
it's sad. Change is sad. It's hard.
and we're talking about these stories where people do have ends too. That's the thing
Yeah,
we're like that's another thing we're talking about how sad it is when to say goodbye to people when you know why they're moving on and you
yeah,
know what the end of their story is. And in Wanderstop, you just don't.
yeah. That's true. I think like the closest thing you maybe get is there's like a mail system, and I know at some point, the knight with the cursed leg, he did, like, send me a letter in a different season. Uh,
Oh, I either didn't get that or I might have clicked through a couple of the letters.
it's all good, yeah. I think he did. I mean, you never see him again, but you
Mhm.
do get, like, a letter, which I thought
Okay.
was sweet,
That
and,
is good.
yeah.
Um, at some point, we are going to talk about we're gonna have to talk about the stuff that you get in the mail and read
Yeah.
because it's incredible. It's some of the funniest shit. But okay, but, um, maybe that should be at the end of our discussion.
Yeah. Sure, sure.
Um, yeah, the thing earlier I hinted towards this idea that it's lack of like, actual gameplay hooks that, um, I found super compelling was
Yeah,
maybe a knock against this game, not just because, whatever, not just like, "Oh, all games have to be fun," or whatever, but I think
yeah.
specifically maybe this game had to be fun. Because if what it's trying to say to you is you should only be playing this game for the sake of playing this game. You should
Mhm.
not be playing this game to get to an ending or to feel some sense of accomplishment at the end because we don't want to give you that.
Yeah,
That's not what you're here for. You are here to actualize in the moment. um if that's what they're trying to say, then I think it needed to be I think the gameplay itself needed to be fun enough that that was viable.
sure. No, I see what you're saying, and it's hard to talk about that without thinking like, "Oh, we missed the point then." Like, you know what
Yes,
I mean? Like,
yes,
"Oh, we're just missing the point."
yes.
But, I do think there needs to be some degree of gameplay. Yeah, like you said, there is a little bit of a lack of gameplay. That is on purpose. It's not, I wouldn't call it like a mistake or an oversight. I just wonder if there could be a little bit more.
Yeah. But it also, and on the topic of missing the point, um, which me and you talked about, I think, yeah, even before we started um, recording,
Mhm.
um, that idea of like, oh man, any criticism in this game almost feels like we're missing the point, which is funny because
Exactly,
it makes the
yeah.
game almost impervious to criticism, which is such like a funny thing to do. But anyway, um, but that's an interesting thing. Talking about missing the point is like, it makes you question why certain things in other games are even fun. Like,
Yeah,
why is it fun to play? And I know I talked about this on a previous episode. Why is it fun to play Stardew Valley and water all my crops just so I
right.
can make money to buy a thing that'll water my crops for me?
I'm gonna
Am
be
I
honest with
saying
you.
am I
I
saying then
don't
that yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I don't know if it's fun.
Right.
I actually don't know. And like I have OCD. So
Yeah.
I wonder
Yeah.
like I really do. Like sometimes I wonder am I having fun or am I just grinding with this intensity because like I'm anxious and I need to like
Yeah.
feel a thing, it's like that dopamine hit.
And I think that's exactly what Wanderstop is saying,
Yeah.
right? And so I think there's this idea that's being communicated here, which is like why, and this is all subtext. It's not explicit in
Mhm.
the game, but it's like why is it fun if all I'm trying to do is raise the money to get a thing that waters my crops for me, then I'm telling myself watering the crops isn't fun.
Right.
So why am I
Yes.
watering the crops for hours and hours and hours?
Or like it's important because there is a tangible reward at the end.
Right, and is that a good enough motivation for us to play a game? Or
Right. And yet we do.
are we just I know, are we just simulating the oppression that we live in daily? Like, are we just simulating capitalism?
It's
Is this
rough.
just like is this just a do we use games as a form of therapy to process the trauma of capitalism?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I
Yeah.
use games as therapy
Yeah.
for a lot of stuff, to be honest, and whether that can be unhealthy or it can be healthy. It
Right.
can go either way. But I think, like, yeah, I think it is really more about getting that dopamine hit, because we are living, and I know I'm gonna sound like old man yells at cloud. Just bear with me. We're definitely living in a time where we're constantly getting dopamine hits. So we
Yeah.
need to keep chasing a different way to do it. We can be
Mhm.
on our phone and get a dopamine hit. We can watch any streaming service. We can find almost anything to watch that we might want. We have music at the palm of our hands. Like, we are living in an age where dopamine is almost constant. So we're also desensitizing ourselves a little bit, meaning we have to find a new way to get
Yeah.
it. I mean, that's why people doom scroll, right? They're just waiting. They're waiting for something to hit them, just something.
And how much is this dopamine addiction, just a supplement to the fact that we, again, live in a society where we toil and toil and toil for very little reward,
Yeah.
right? We work
Yeah.
I mean, some of us anyway, work every single day. Um, that wasn't a dig at people who don't. Like, sorry, I just like, well, some of us. That wasn't a
Some of
dig at
us.
people who have found other ways to make money like that. You fucking congrats. Like, I wish that we all had that.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of us go into work every single day, take home a paycheck that only gives us enough money to pay for our house and our car to get back to work.
Yeah.
Um, and again, it feels like that's so when we get these dopamine hits from everything these days, is that just because again, we're traumatized by this lack of true satisfaction?
Yeah. And I think Wanderstop is really challenging us to just be okay with slowing down, like, just a little bit. Like, you can feel good without constantly seeking reward.
Mhm.
And maybe that becomes the reward. Rest becomes the reward. I think as a society we're kind of weird about rewards. I think we're both millennials and we kind of grew up with this treat yourself mentality and kind of the skewing of self-care over time.
Yeah,
And I grew up in therapy, so for me self-care is getting in the shower, taking care of myself.
yeah.
It is not eating 5 brownies. I would like to do that, and it sounds amazing. It is not self-care.
Yeah, can I
I
please have 5 brownies?
I would love 5 we'll add it to our pizza order, 5 brownies each. I just wanna make
Yes,
that
5
clear.
brownies each. Yes, 100%.
Um, so, yeah, we kinda live in this age where rewards are something that are almost kind of insane and exaggerated. Treat yourself to this. Like in Parks and
Mhm.
Rec, for example, Ben treats himself to an entire Batman uniform. These are rewards that are really more rewarding than they have to be. And I'm not saying don't treat yourself ever. Absolutely treat yourself,
Yeah.
especially if you have feelings of, like, low self-worth, and you need to be able to do that. But I think Wanderstop not giving us that, like, special kind of reward is really kind of profound in a video game.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess, what one of the things Wanderstop, I think, is maybe asking us, and if you'll permit my anthropologist to come out,
Mhm.
for a minute,
Please.
um, is this idea of, should rest be a reward,
Mm.
or should rest
Mhm.
be the natural state?
That's a
And
good call,
work
yeah.
is a thing for a very specific purpose. Um, like, before, I mean, there was for the majority of human history, right? Um, in foraging societies,
Mhm.
you would, there was no such thing as surplus. When you wanted food,
Right,
you would go get the food
right.
and then You might save some of the like, when things were starting to get cold or something, you might save some food, um, but you would go get the food, eat the food, and then you'd spend most of the day resting. Your
Right.
life was rest, and the other, like, the minor part of it was work. But we
Mhm.
have changed the formula so much where almost our entire lives are work, and the minimum amount of our life, this thing that we consider a reward, this thing that
Mhm.
society tells us is a reward, like, oh, work hard and you'll get your rest, like, you'll get your food, work really hard and you'll get your treat, like, we have broken, like, this is a broken formula.
Yeah.
This is we have a, that is, uh, the way we've internalized this idea that that is normal and that is okay, rather
Yeah.
than this idea of, like, shouldn't we only live once, shouldn't we enjoy life? Like, isn't life for enjoying? Is
Yeah.
life for toiling or is life for enjoying?
Yeah.
Which is why people, whether or not you believe in this stuff, it whether it's true or not, I'll say this, it would have to have been invented anyway. This is like the reason for religion, right? Like, oh, if you toil really hard, you'll get your reward
Yeah.
in the afterlife, is just a reaction to the idea of, like, okay, yeah, life is starting to suck for all of us.
Yeah.
So we need to tell people that we need to feel like we're working towards something.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, there is that idea of like, well, what's the point then if we're not working towards something? And I think there's merit to that, right? I think there's merit to giving yourself goals. Like a current goal I have is to get better at pottery.
mhm,
But that's also a personal goal, set for myself that isn't necessarily toiling all the time. I'm not necessarily
yeah,
being punished for it. That's just my personal goal. Um, I just think maybe sometimes we go a little bit too far
mm,
into like we said, like rewards and what is a natural state. We should
yeah,
just be able to rest. Another one is food. Food shouldn't be a reward.
yeah,
And that's a
yeah.
big one kind of in my world, having had an eating disorder where food was a reward.
Mhm.
And so food became a reward. It also became a comfort. It also became an addiction, something you rely on. But
Well,
really, it should just
yeah,
be, yes, you should enjoy food. Absolutely. We're gonna
yeah.
eat pizza and brownies and we're gonna fucking love it. But it shouldn't be a reward. This should just be a natural thing that you do in your
Well,
life.
also, you shouldn't have to earn it
And yeah,
either.
and you shouldn't have to earn food.
Shelter, food, like, we we shouldn't have to toil every day just to get shelter and
Yeah.
food. And I wanna say, we're speaking very high-minded here. We're not above it, right? We are
No, of
living
course
in that
not.
world. So
Yeah.
all of my goals are still toil and reward related, right?
Yeah.
Like, all of the things that motivate me on a daily basis are within this framework because I live in this is the world this is the world I live in.
Yeah.
Uh, so, I'm not this game this game didn't heal me.
Right.
I don't know that it's gonna
Right.
heal anybody. Um, and
Right.
I don't know that you can be healed while living in this world that works the way this world does.
Yeah.
I don't think
I
it's
think
possible.
I think there are certain things you can do that the game is kind of encouraging you to do. Like letting go of maybe certain toxic thoughts, or what I took almost immediately, because this is something as we get older, as kind of older millennials, is what am I going to do with my life? And I think Wanderstop really encourages almost immediately that pivoting, even temporarily, even a temporary pivot is okay. You
Mhm,
don't need to, if you're unhappy with something, you do not need to stick with that thing. There are other things that you are good at.
mhm.
And I think this is like, I think this is a thing for many millennials. I don't really know why, but the imposter syndrome is real, and
Yeah.
we feel like we're not good at anything, and we've got this one thing, and we have to toil at it until forever. But I
Mhm,
really
mhm,
appreciate it,
mhm.
especially I had just put out a video that talks about like career paths and is that okay to do, and am I too old to do
Yeah,
it? Is it too late? I think part of this character's um issue is that she puts so much time and effort into becoming something, and now she feels that's going to be a waste of time. But it's not. It's not a waste of time. It's just you're doing something different now, and that's
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Um, I mean, yeah, I am also potentially in the process of pivoting, right? Like
Hmm.
I went to school late, and I got a degree in something that has nothing to do with the job that I have.
Yeah.
um, but I don't know. Yeah, it's this game is a lot. Hey,
It is a lot.
do we want to take a break from the heavy stuff here and talk about the absolutely hilarious shit in this game?
Yeah, it is a funny game.
Mhm.
What is this, the same writers as the Stanley Parable, right?
Correct.
Or the same
Um,
designers. So it does have a very good sense of humor.
yes, there is a series of books that you get in the mail in this game, and I don't often read books in games.
Sure. I
Um,
don't, yeah, I'm not a big fan of that mechanic either.
but I read the books in this game because they are so fucking funny. There's a series of action novels about a guy named Dirk Warhard who is obsessed with himself. He's obsessed with Dirk
Poor heart.
Warhard, and uh he goes on these he's like impossibly skilled at the things he does. He goes on these insane missions, and
Mhm.
it's just this parody of like thriller fiction
Yeah, yeah.
that is so fucking funny.
Yeah.
If it relates to the themes of the games in some way, I couldn't discern it. To me, it's just like, hey, it's a Wanderstop. It's a sojourn
Yeah.
from the game where you just kind of like read these books and they make you like I was laughing out loud.
Nice. Yeah, no, it does. Are you so this is different from the detective, right?
Dirk Warhard? No, he is the
He is a
Dirk Warhard's the
detective.
detective. Yeah,
I just remember laughing so hard
I
because
think he's a detective and a secret agent, and like he's all
yeah.
sorts of things. He's an astronaut at some point. Like he's everything.
Oh, he's one of those characters, yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
so funny.
you find, like, l lost parcels throughout the
Mhm.
world, and you can, like, mail them back. And if you mail them back, you get, like, responses from that, and I remember just laughing so hard because like, one of them was like, "You found the evidence needed to, like, prosecute this or, like, solve this case." I'm like, "I did?" I just thought it was so cute and, like, well, that's lovely. I like this little world, I
Yeah.
think, that the designers are building here. And,
Can I Can I
mhm.
read a short passage of Dirk Warhard just to
Oh,
get
please.
people like the tone of these books? Because I have this fear that people are going to hear, oh yeah, I bet they're funny, and then not read them, but they are
Yeah.
so fucking funny. So, as he stepped out of the limo, the sun shone brightly into his eyes. Dirk Warhard hated the sun more than he hated anything in the world. He had been told many times to stop looking directly into the sun, but to turn his back on an enemy was cowardice he could never forgive. Pulsing with rage from the Dirk Warhard undercover method, Dirk Warhard pulled a pistol from his tuxedo jacket and fired 10 rounds directly into the heart of the sun. Case closed. He holstered the pistol and stepped into the party. Shortly after entering, he was met by the host. I'm going to skip a little bit. Howdy, he said to her. My name is Bobby Briggleston. But his name was not Bobby Briggleston. That was only his undercover alias. His name was Dirk Warhard. Dirk Warhard thought to himself, I'm Dirk Warhard, and then continued the conversation.
I love it. Yeah, that's actually a good passage that sets the tone for the type of humor that you're
It's
going to experience.
It's yeah, I mean, like, all the conversations with the characters and stuff are funny too, but I do yourself a favor and read
And
these
read the
books.
books. Yeah.
They're so good.
I also liked, I liked their I think we spoke about this in the other episode, but there's this, merchant, this older lady merchant who's so salty and crabby, but she also likes you, and you can kinda tell, but she's got a
Mhm,
little bit of a
mhm,
guise on
mhm,
about
mhm.
it, and she says she's gonna, like, take down your shop by selling all this stuff, and she never sells us anything. If anything, she gives us stuff for free. She's like, "Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
take this thing." I'm like, "Alright." And I love that. I love that character.
that's yes. That character rules. She thinks she's in a trade war with you.
Yeah.
And so she asks you what the most valuable thing you have on you is, and whatever you give to her, she'll come back to you later. She'll be like, "Ah, sucker! I
Yeah.
tricked you into giving me an expensive thing. I gave you a worthless thing." And later she'll come back to you and she's like, "That was even more. It was worth even more than you thought."
Yeah, like, literally, I gave her, like, a leaf or,
I
like, this
I gave her one of my seeds. I had 30 others.
Oh, I remember. I gave her a mug. I, like, gave her one of the mugs from the shop.
Oh.
Just a regular fucking mug.
Oh, man. Yeah,
Yeah, it's funny.
I think
It's
this
really
game
cute.
succeeds on a lot of levels because even the ways that we're talking about how it might not succeed, right?
Mhm.
The ways where it could be improved and where it doesn't quite hit its mark. Um, there's not a lot of games that can make you think that hard about that,
Yeah, right.
right? Like it succeeds in putting you deep enough into the psychology, the literary, merit of their point
Yeah.
that you start debating with it about how well it's doing the thing it taught you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I think it makes it special
yeah,
in that way. I think this is a special game, and
mhm,
I really like the heart that went into it. Also, there's
yeah.
pluffins. I We almost didn't say it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Why don't we wrap up on Pluffins?
Pluffins. They're so cute. I think that
So
was one of the first things I texted you about. I'm like, there's pluffins in this game.
yes, definitely. Tell us about Pluffins.
So pluffins are these cute little penguin slash puffin type of animal that they seem to have an understanding of like where they are. They really like tea. Like you can give them tea. You can feed them tea. And depending on which tea you give them, they'll change colors and it's really cute and you can take care of them and you can pet them and
Yeah.
they find you seeds and like lost parcels. Look, they're not a big part of the game, okay? But they're adorable and they give the area a little bit more personality because there aren't that many characters on screen, but you can always find a Pluffin.
Yes. Um, yeah, you can feed them tea and they change colors.
It's
Sometimes they
so cute.
find stuff on the ground and you pick them up and you gotta shake them to
Oh,
get
you
them to
gotta
drop
shake
it.
them. Yeah.
And they have such grumpy faces, like, they'll follow you if you feed them tea, they'll follow you around looking for tea for the rest of the like,
That's
not the
true.
rest of the thing, but for a long, long time.
Yeah.
But they have such grumpy faces, so even though they're happy, they look so mad at you for giving them the thing they wanted.
They have angry eyebrows, like
Yeah,
constantly angry eyebrows.
they're they're adorable.
They're so cute. I love the Pluffins and like there is a quest. It's optional. You don't have to do it.
Uh-huh, uh-huh,
But there's a quest in one of the seasons where like you have to like make as many colored pluffins as you can. So like make an orange pluffin or a purple pluffin and feed the pluffins because they're
yeah.
hungry. Like, I just love them. Also, did you notice that every season it changes? Does the setting change a little bit? Like do things like the Pluffin Ranch is different from the last
Yes.
season? Okay. All right.
Yes,
That's what I thought.
every the layout of the play
The layout,
again,
yeah.
also playing this so slow, I think helped me realize that because I did take time to get used to the layouts.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was like I would go to where I knew You can plant stuff literally anywhere,
Yes.
but there's a spot that is specifically, like, designed for your planting in it.
Yeah.
Um, so I went to my yeah, like, my garden plot, and it was just something different there.
I know. That
Yeah.
also kind of plays with you a little bit and kind
Mhm.
of, encourages acceptance of change. It's like, well, but I was familiar with
Well, right.
that.
It's again, they didn't want this game to be they didn't want this game to be a dopamine pump. They didn't want this game to become a habit.
Yeah.
And they do all these little things like that to prevent it from becoming one. You can't also, we didn't say this. When you meditate and the scene shifts, you lose
Mhm.
all your inventory.
That made me so sad.
So you can't like build this massive farm
Yeah.
and end up with all the stock so that when somebody asks for a type of tea, you just have it.
Even the inventory you get from like the merchant. Like you'll get like a real cool mug.
Mhm,
No, it's gonna be gone. Which maybe
mhm.
I found some really cool mugs in that
Yeah.
game, I gotta say.
And there's a point where Bufo asks you to do something,
I'm sorry,
um
say his name again, Matt?
Bufo? What is his name? What did I say it
I
wrong?
think his name is Bufo? It's Boro.
Bufo is the character from fucking
Boof! You're thinking of Boof
I'm
from
thinking
Dare to
of Boof
Dream.
from fucking Dare to Dream!
Oh my god, I was also just thinking about Boof. That's wild, man.
Okay.
Oh, that game.
Boro,
Boro, yeah.
Jesus Christ, will come to you, and he'll ask you to do this, like, "Oh, can you plant, nice plants in all these pots over around here?"
Yeah.
And the first time he asks you that, you say to him, um, "Well, won't they just disappear anyway? Like, won't"
Yes.
and he's like, "Well, does that mean that it's not worthwhile?"
Yeah.
And it stopped, and, like, again, it's another point of the game. Just
Yeah.
because you lose a cool mug that you got doesn't mean that it wasn't worthwhile that you had a cool mug.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes me feel a certain type of way, I'll say that.
Yeah. It's a real fascinating game. I think I don't know. I don't know if if this is a game where I'm like everyone should play it, but
Right.
it is a game where it feels like it would be I think this game would have value for anybody.
Yeah, I do too.
Anything else to say before we wrap up?
Let me think. I just love that you called him Bufu. I'm gonna draw
Boo-foo.
fan art. I say this like every episode. I'm like, I want to draw fan art of that thing, and then I don't. But no, I think this game does have a lot of value. I think it's worth. I recommend it personally. I think there's value in it, and I would love to hear other people's thoughts and analysis on some of these themes.
Mhm, mhm.
Do you have anything else to say?
No, I think we've said it all.
Are you still thinking about pizza?
Yes.
I know. I'm hungry. I think that's why we had a hard time, like, thinking of thoughts.
Yeah, and it's late. We recorded this one late, so we
We
shouldn't be
did.
hungry.
No, I
It's
shouldn't
not
be
dinner
eating.
time,
No, it is not. It is past dinner time, but this is where
but
we are,
yeah,
and
I'm
I don't know, I got
very
some
hungry. I'm
cheese in
gonna
the
eat so
fridge.
much after we get off. Uh, eh, hey, thank you guys for listening.
Yeah.
We appreciate you every single week. I know we were ragging on a YouTube commenter at the beginning, um,
We still
but
love you, though.
yeah, we love you, and I meant it as critical as I was of that guy. I was also attempting to be self-deprecating about
For
how we
sure.
went on and on and on about hair. Uh, but I but I love doing this podcast, and I love that you guys listen and you get something out of it. So thank you for listening, and feel free to email us mattandraoses@gmail.com. Check us out on Instagram,
Mhm.
Save Your Game Podcast.
Yep.
Um,
He finally got it after
what
all
else?
these episodes, you know the name of our podcast. Or
And
our
again,
Instagram, rather.
like always, if you like the show, share it with some people. Tell people about it. Everybody let one friend know. How about that? How about that's your
I
action
like that.
item this week, people?
Yeah.
Everybody go to one friend and be like, "Hey, I don't know if you like this or not, but there's this cool podcast I like."
There's no
And
reward for it, but
no, just yeah, yeah, exactly. Just hey, or or say to your follow like, if you're on social media, say to your social media followers, "Hey, there's this podcast I like." Or again, just go to one friend and be like, "Hey, I know you like video games. You might like this."
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
Show it to your parents even.
Introduce us to your parents. They'll parents love us.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, they
Um,
might like you. I'm a little I'm a little harder to get used to. Got those
um,
tattoos.
I again, I've had a bit of a tough week, so I don't have offhand a political action to push you guys towards. Uh, and I apologize for that. I'll try to have something for next week. But just stay frosty, stay informed,
Mhm.
and stay sane. Like again, if we're gonna have to resist for 4 years or whatever,
Yeah. Maybe play
uh,
some Wanderstop.
yeah, why don't you take a week off? Hey,
Yeah.
if you've done all the other political stuff that I've pushed you towards, this week let's all take a week off.
I mean, I am taking a week off, so I'm yeah. I encourage
um,
this greatly.
um, so I guess there's only one thing left to say.
What's that?
Well, podcast is art.
That is so profound, Matt.
Yeah, thank you, thank
This
you.
that you know what? You know what I think?
I've been working on it all week. Yeah.
You have
Hmm.
gold star. Well, I think that
Don't give me
as
a gold star. We don't want rewards for
all right,
work. Is
I'm ripping it out of your hands and throwing it on the ground. Because you know
ow.
why? Because art is suffer.